Welcome to YAF Podcast. You're joined by your hosts, Steph and Brandon. Today we're going to be talking about strength training for women and how women can start strength training. So obviously I'm a woman, I'm a female, and I love to do strength training. I think it's so beneficial and I wish that more women knew how great it was. And I know that you as a gym owner, you have so many clients who come in, especially women, like you have heaps of women at the gym who train, and a lot of them had never done any lifting before.
Yeah, so we have one of the things we started this year was our beginner class, and that was actually your idea, which is really good. You can take full credit for that. And had we not put that on, I don't think I'd have as many coming in now as I do. So it's been so good having that on, and I find people just need, well, women in general just need that space or that time slot where they know there's no pressure and there's no one else going to be there, and it's just going to be a really easy and open environment for them to practice. And I find people are worried that they're not going to be able to do it, and women especially are worried that they're just going to fail and not going to be able to do it, whereas I'm finding with my male clients, they already know how to do it.
Yeah, I think that
they've got a different attitude.
Yeah, they do. I think that like for women especially, like can be really intimidating walking into a gym and it seems like too tough or too challenging, like we're not strong enough to be able to do it, when the reality is like we are strong enough and women can lift weights. But I think also the message that they've been sent by so many other areas is that like you'll look manly or you'll look masculine if you do weights. And so then women are fearful and intimidated of weights and of the gym. And it's such a shame because they're so, like weights are so good for you.
And we know that's not the case about getting bulky and getting huge. And we spoke about that last week with Dakota's podcast and how that's not a thing and how you actually you'll build a different physique, and it's a lot harder for females to build muscle than it is for men. So those things just don't apply, and it's challenging initially trying to convince a female that that's actually how it works, but it's one of those things where people only know until they try it for themselves. So once we find, as soon as we get females in the door and they start training and they start seeing that there's other women here as well, and I find often just showing them or just them seeing and realizing, like this Wednesday morning's class is just females at 6 a.m. and I don't think a male has ever come to a weightlifting at all on my Monday, like on my Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. It's just females, and I'm not promoting it as a female only class. It's just who's attracting and who's coming, and it's awesome. And I don't have a bias to one or the other. I don't care. I'll train whoever's here, but it's just really interesting to see that, you know, they're really taking it on and they're really getting involved. And once they see females can do it and they see themselves, you know, get some progress immediately, and you can improve quite quickly if you've never ever touched the barbell. It's really awesome.
Yeah, there's like beginner gains, which is amazing. Like I feel like any advanced lifter or anyone who's been lifting for a while is really jealous of beginner gains. So if you're a female that's never lifted before, you literally have it the best.
You'll get 300 times stronger in the first month.
Literally, you're going to get so strong so quick. Like once you learn the technique, and I actually find that it's easier coaching people who have no strength initially, because they have to do everything technically correct and you have to learn exactly how you're supposed to do that movement. Like you literally can't just muscle through it because you're not strong enough.
Yeah.
So it's good because you have to do it properly, you have to do the technique correctly, and you do get strong really quickly. So I think it's the perfect spot to start.
Yeah, currently I'm training a lot of powerlifters, and the powerlifters I'm training are stupidly strong. Like I've never trained anyone as strong as these people, and I find that the beginners who have never ever lifted ever can pick up weightlifting so much faster. Like they might not be lifting as heavy, obviously, but the technique and the way that they move is just completely different, and they're like months ahead of those people who are so strong, because people that are strong can get away with just muscling through the reps and muscling through it just because they can.
Exactly, yeah. So I guess the next thing I want to sort of touch on in this episode is, why is strength training so good? I guess not just for women, but you know, for everyone. Strength training has so many benefits. So maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, so one of the things we see, well, even just psychologically, so going back to what you were saying before about how, you know, getting results fast, one way that I find to convince people so quickly that this training actually works is how quickly they actually improve strength-wise. So the amount of strength that you're going to be able to produce in all these movements initially is going to be really, really low when you're first starting, and that's fine. And you'll find that your performance and stuff like that will improve so quickly. So the amount of weight that you can actually lift and the strength that you'll be able to produce is going to feel it's going to be so much more once you start training and doing some resistance training. So we're just talking about, doing squats, doing deadlifts with the barbell and stuff like that. It's going to be great. Putting on muscle, your body's going to change and your physique's going to change. And that's something that can only be done through that stress on your body, which we mean by just, pushing yourself and doing reps and using weight is going to result in all those changes.
Yeah, and the great thing about putting on muscle as well, apart from getting stronger, is that your metabolic rate is a little bit higher. So you can actually eat more calories. You can eat a bit more food.
Yeah, because you're burning more.
Yeah, so you're burning more. So you can literally eat a little bit more and your composition will change. So you're not going to be like a little soft marshmallow anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Be a little bit firmer, a little
skinny
bit tighter.
Fat. Yeah.
You won't be skinny fat anymore.
No, you won't.
There's all these really great things. I don't know. It's just so many benefits.
Yeah, when you were saying about recomposition, it's something so interesting because often people will come to us saying that they want to lose weight, and it's very hard to gain muscle and lose weight simultaneously. It doesn't usually happen like that. One will happen and then the other will happen. So often I find when people do, a lot of these challenges where they lose quite a lot of weight, often they lose all their muscle and they lose a lot of their strength as well. So they might look leaner and feel slimmer, but they're actually the weakest that they've ever been, or very close to the same strength that they had when they were slightly heavier. So what we want to try and focus on is building that muscle and building that strength. And what that will do will change your body composition. So obviously having a higher percentage of lean mass, which is that muscle that we've been talking about, is going to result in you being a lot more muscly and looking a lot more muscly, which is probably going to result in you looking smaller anyway. So it's quite interesting. Obviously, you've probably seen those things where it's like 1 kilo of muscle and then 1 kilo of fat, and the actual size difference, the amount of space that those two actually take up. Muscle takes up so much less space for the same amount of weight.
Exactly. So even if you put weight on the scale with muscle mass, you'll actually look smaller, because muscle is denser, and so you'll look smaller with more muscle as opposed to fat. You'll look a little bit bigger and you'll weigh the same. The other really great thing about strength training, and I was thinking about it before while you were talking, because I was like, I have something else to say, but I'm not sure what it was, and then it came back to me, is that it's really great for your joints and your bones as well. So especially as women, we're at risk more than men of osteoporosis, which is where you have reduced bone density. And basically, as you get older, females are going to lose bone density anyway for a lot of them, but osteoporosis is where it's on that extreme end, and they're people who are high risk of fractures. And the really great thing about strength training and resistance training is that because it stresses the joints and because it stresses your bones as well as your muscles, you're actually going to build up more strength through your bones. So then you don't lose bone density. So that's a really, really important thing. Less fracture risk, less falling risk. Overall, it's really beneficial.
Yeah, and we're finding that with people as they get old, we're having some older clients, females that are doing weightlifting and lifting weights. It's been really beneficial, and they've been finding they're feeling a lot stronger and just having a lot more, general strength because of all those benefits.
The next thing I want to sort of talk about on this topic is I feel like a lot of women are worried they're going to get injured when they start doing weight training. What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, we're not going to be thrashing them with heaps of weight from the beginning. So we have broomsticks here. We do body weight stuff. We screen everyone with a body weight movement or a broomstick movement before they even go under a barbell. We'll give them any progression that they can, work on. And if there's anything that they can't do with the barbell, we'll try and work towards building the strength to do that. But often, I know we were saying about people being, not that strong when they first come into the gym. Most people possess the necessary strength to move a 15 kilo female barbell, and that's not something that's unheard of. Most people will be able to do that. Most people will be able to do that with weight as well. And, if you can't, we have trainer barbells and we have trainer equipment, which is slightly lighter, which will simulate the same movement and help you get into those positions. And you're not going to be doing anything silly, and we're going to be monitoring you as coaches, making sure you are doing the correct movement and going into the correct body positions. And we're going to try and make sure that you're aware of, what you're actually doing and try and teach you. And that's something that we're really big on here, is teaching people exactly how we want them to move, which is going to be the best positions for them, because everyone has, different limb lengths or leg lengths and different body positions. So not the technique for someone is going to look slightly different on another person. So, due to everyone's different biomechanics, because I just want to throw that word in there. But yeah, for people wanting that for people who are worried about getting injured, we don't really usually see anything like that.
No, well, because we're focusing on technique. That's the very first thing I think that we focus on for any beginner lifter, not just women. We'll always prioritize technique over the weight that you lift.
I think people are so worried about deadlifts especially.
Yeah.
And people will come in and say, oh, I've done deadlifts before at another place in another gym or in the past, and I've pulled up really sore before, and my back's, I've had an injury from training in the past. And often I'll ask a few more questions and they'll explain to me, or they'll show me how they were deadlifting, and I'll be immediately concerned, and we'll work on that. And they'll, the next day they'll pull up completely different, and they'll pull up fine, and there'll be, different muscles. The correct muscles will be sore. So it's really interesting how, the technique from other places and compared to what we do here, where we're trying to teach people exactly how to move properly, it's really important.
Yeah, exactly. I think the next thing that I wanted to talk about, or the final thing I guess to talk about, is like, how can women start? How can they actually get into lifting weights or doing strength training? Where do you even begin?
We talk about it often where we say get a coach. And I think that's kind of a meme. It's kind of a joke at the moment. Get a coach, if you want to learn how to do something, see a professional. But, I would refrain from going on YouTube and typing in, although we do these tutorials ourselves, how to deadlift. These tutorials are really good to supplement your current education, which is with your coach, and supplement your current learning. But if you're someone who's never, like flat out, never touched the barbell, never been into a gym, the best thing you can do is see someone who, it's hard to say like to see a personal trainer or see someone like that, because we don't know exactly how they're going to be, educating you. But
every personal trainer is very different in terms of skills and experience.
Yeah, exactly.
What we're saying is maybe go to somewhere that has a reputation for being quite good at strength training, read the
Come
reviews.
and see us.
Come and see us.
If you don't already.
And get a coach who does have experience in strength training. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very hard to see, when you see people online and they have a certain physique, and you think, oh, well, because they have that physique, they must be excellent at educating people at how to do a certain exercise. But often that's not the case. That correlation doesn't equal causation, and those two things aren't linked together. So it's quite challenging, and I can see for the consumer trying to work out, who are they going to see and who are they going to choose to train them can be quite challenging. But I would, maybe shop around, or if you find the person has, done the right thing and put you in good positions and you feel good and you're finding that training's working. It's always interesting because I get this asked to me, or I've heard this asked to me as well, where I've had some clients been like, oh, are you legit? Is Brandon legit? And they question whether or not they're at the right place. And I had one of my clients, they didn't realize I was legit, or we were legit, until they saw me lift at a comp. And then they saw all our other lifters lift at the comp,
like that.
and they were like, oh yeah, you are legit. And that was one of and like, I find people will know straight away. They'll be like, oh yeah, okay, you know what you're talking about. But you kind of have that feeling and that inkling quite early on.
Just look at our videos and you'll see on Instagram and YouTube, you'll see that we know what we're talking about with technique.
It's challenging, and I can imagine for a lot of people, if they've been burnt by gyms, and
it can be confusing.
Yeah, and people have probably all been to it. When you think of a gym, you probably think of being locked into a $10 a week direct debit and them never stopping your debits even after you putting in your cancellation form. That's what people think, I think.
Yeah.
So when the idea of going to that same place to get a coach to teach you how to exercise it doesn't really have a good taste in your mouth. So it's something that's really challenging.
Yeah.
But shop around and look at their content. What are they putting out? How are they explaining it to you? If it looks quite professional, then they're probably going to be the right person for you.
Yeah. To add to that, I'd probably recommend for people just to start, because I know we just kind of chat all over looking at YouTube and online content to learn how to lift. But if you don't have the funds to go to a gym or to get a coach, just start at home, start with your body weight, because body weight only, you can't really do a lot of damage to yourself. You're going to be okay. When you start adding load or really high reps, maybe it's a bit different. But speaking from an osteo point of view, I can say that body weight only is a great way to start, and just start. Maybe film yourself and you can analyze yourself, how your lifting looks or how your squatting or deadlifting looks. you can practice deadlifts at home literally with a broomstick. So, and like we just said, like, yes, we shout all over YouTube tutorials, but there are tutorials on YouTube teaching you how to deadlift, or on Instagram. So you can always get those as ideas, just as like your really base level if you have to. So that's for the person who doesn't have as much maybe funds able to get a coach, and just start. Or on the flip side of that, you don't have to wait until you're fitter and stronger to come to a gym like ours, for example. Like, you don't have to wait to get stronger before you do strength training. I teach Pilates as well as work as an osteo, and the number of people that say to me at a Pilates class, or they always like comment because they see my Instagram stories and videos and they're like, oh wow, you're so strong, you do lots of lifting. I'm like, I'm kind of strong, but I'm not like amazing. I'm just normal strong. I think I'm normal strong. But they always say, oh, I want to do lifting, but I just want to get stronger first. I'm like,
I hate that.
What do you mean you want to get stronger first? Like, if you start lifting, you're going to get stronger. Like, that's just how it works. But the longer you wait, like, the longer you have to wait to get stronger. So why don't you just start right now? And then that's it. You're going to get stronger straight away. Next week, you'll be stronger than now.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, certain things don't really translate into strength training or weight training, like with the barbell. So if you're doing Pilates, body weight only stuff, or maybe you're using 1 kilo dumbbells, it just doesn't really translate into a barbell movement. Some patterns, yes, like with body weight, but you just got to think that if you're using 1 kilo weights all the time, that's not going to get you any stronger. You do have to
It's not enough stress.
No, you don't. You have to add some stimulus. You have to add a little bit of load to get stronger at that. And you don't need to wait. You can do it now.
Definitely. And when we speak about strength training, we're not just talking about using a barbell. We are talking about, like Steph said, body weight. Even machines can be quite safe, and machines are pretty... They're pretty robust. You can't really mess them up, you know.
I always say that to people,
Yeah, like the lat pull down, you just pull it up and pull it down. You leg extension, leg curl, you're locked in, and there's only one way of motion, really, that you can go in, and that's it.
These equipments as well, I'm not sure if anyone's noticed, but they actually have pictures on the side telling you what to do. So you kind of can't stuff it up.
No.
People do, but it's really hard to stuff it up. So if you're really not sure, then like by all means go to the gym and like use machines, because that is still resistance training. That is still strength training.
They can be very beneficial.
Yeah. So there should be an option for everyone, I think.
Awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode and you enjoyed hearing about how you can get started into strength training. And especially as a female, there are so many, there's so many people advocating female strength for a lot of people. And at our gym, we are pretty much like, let's say 70% female. And it's nothing we're doing specifically. It's just what we're seeing. And it's really, really awesome.
Yep.
So keep up the good work.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye.